Alone in the unforgiving desert, an Apache woman's desperate plea met a lone cowboy's choice to help. Will trust survive where danger lurks at every turn? Watch how their journey from fear to hope unfolds in the wild 1800s West. Don't miss a moment. Subscribe now and join this unforgettable frontier tale. Let's get started. In the lonely deserts of 1882 Arizona, Leanna stood where her life had ended and something unknown was about to begin. Ash drifted softly across the sand, carried by a wind that no longer felt like home. Her camp lay in ruins, charred poles, torn blankets, broken pottery. Raiders had come without warning and left without mercy. Her family was gone, her voice unanswered by the desert that once knew her name. The silence around her was heavier than grief, pressing against her chest until breathing itself felt like work. In the Wild West, she knew a woman alone was not just vulnerable, she was forgotten. As Clear's throat the sun sank lower, the sky burned with deep oranges and reds, mocking the fire that had taken everything from her. Leanna wrapped her arms around herself, not for warmth, but to remind her body that it still existed. Hunger twisted inside her, but fear was worse. Night in the desert did not forgive the weak. Coyotes, bandits, soldiers, any shadow could mean death. She had walked for hours without direction, guided only by instinct, and the stubborn refusal to lie down and disappear. Every step felt borrowed, every breath uncertain. She had almost accepted that no one would come. The world had already shown her how easily people turned away. That was when she heard it. The creak of wagon wheels, slow and steady, cutting through the silence. Leanna lifted her head, hardly daring to hope. A single wagon moved along the distant trail, pulled by a tired horse. Dust rose behind it like a pale ghost. She stood still, afraid that if she moved, the moment would break. Strangers often meant danger, yet letting it pass meant certain death. Her heart pounded as the wagon slowed. Jacob Turner reined in his horse when he noticed her figure against the darkening horizon. At first he thought she was a trick of the light, another mirage born from long days on the trail. But she didn't fade. She stood there, motionless, framed by ruin and dusk. Years on the frontier had taught him caution. An ambush could look like anything. Still, something about her stillness unsettled him. She didn't wave. She didn't run. She simply waited as though rooted to the land itself. Jacob climbed down from the wagon, keeping a careful distance. He noted the burned camp behind her, the emptiness in her eyes. This wasn't a trap. It was aftermath. He felt a familiar conflict tighten in his chest, the instinct to help wrestling with the hard lessons of survival. He had seen what kindness could cost a man in this land. When trouble followed compassion like a shadow, he cleared his throat, unsure what to say, then glanced at the darkening sky. Night was coming fast. That was when he decided he couldn't stay. He took a step back toward the wagon, already rehearsing the words he'd used to justify leaving. He told himself she might find others, that stopping would endanger them both, that one man couldn't fix what the world had broken. As he turned away, the silence shattered. "Don't leave me alone," she cried. The words cut through him sharper than any blade. Her voice trembled, not with weakness, but with raw truth. "I can begin a new life with you." Jacob stopped mid-step. He didn't turn right away, afraid that if he did, he'd see something he couldn't forget. He had heard pleas before, begging meant to deceive, promises shaped by desperation. But this was different. When he finally faced her, he saw no calculation in her eyes, only pain, exhaustion, and a fragile thread of hope stretched to its limit. She wasn't asking to be saved. She was asking not to be abandoned. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The desert seemed to hold its breath. Jacob felt every rule he lived by pressing against him. Don't get involved. Don't